Alright guys, Mastermind Tech here with another video. So in today's video I'm actually going to be doing something with this here, this Game Boy DMG. So I have actually had this for a while. I actually got this at a thrift store a long time ago before retro consoles were actually hard to find. And I think I only paid like $5 for this. I didn't pay much. It was in really bad shape. It actually didn't even have a lens when I got it. I found this on the ground. Somewhere, I forget where I found it, but I thought it worked out well with it. I never actually stuck it down, but I actually have my own DMG, one of my original ones, but I did not want to modify this one. I want to modify this because this was complete in really nice condition. But I wanted to modify this one with an IPS screen and upgrade it. Since this case is not actually in that great a shape, it's missing the back cover, so there are a few things that I would like to upgrade on this so that it would be fully usable. So I'm going to actually be upgrading it to a clear blue shell. I'm going to be using an IPS screen mod, which actually changed out the entire front of the screen in order to be used. I'm also going to be changing out the buttons, putting a new glass lens in there. I'm also going to be upgrading the speaker. I've been wanting to do this mod for a while for a DMG. I do like the Game Boys themselves, and this IPS screen is a pretty big upgrade for it. So yeah, if you guys want to stick around for the rest of the video and take a look at me doing this. Alright guys, so this here is going to be the Game Boy. Like I said, the screen lens was actually not meant for this. I actually found this on the ground somewhere, and I kept it. And it actually went really well with this. But never glued it down. You can see how scratched it is. But this is going to be the Game Boy here. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on to show that it works. And it does. The one downside to this is this screen actually does have a little bit of lines across it. So it is also good that I'm going to be repairing this. And actually I'm going to be putting it into my other DMG as well. Because this one I actually burnt trying to do the repair on this a few years ago. So I'm actually going to be taking this screen, repairing this, putting it into this one as well in another video. But in this one I'm going to be replacing the screen in this with that IPS screen. So that's going to be that. I'm going to just put this lens to the side. I'm going to take the batteries out. These are IKEA batteries. And I'm going to take this game out. Some random like Japanese game that I had in here. It's like a RPG like racing game, I think. This is random. I bought this for like a couple dollars somewhere. It's mainly a test cartridge. Alright. So I am going to be changing it to this here, to this clear blue shell. And I'm going to be changing it out for the screen. And then I'm going to be changing the lens and then the speaker. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. Go ahead and put all this to the side. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take this apart. So this actually looks like it actually belonged to somebody named Jen Blanchard. So Jen, if you're watching, I'm going to take this apart. So let's go ahead and we're going to take out these 6 screws that are going to be on the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6. We're going to take those out in order to get to the inside. They do just use a Phillips head screwdriver, so I'm going to use my iFixit kit, which I do really like. What is also good about these iFixit kits is that they actually do come with GameBit. So you're actually able to take apart old Game Boy games with them as well. If you get the one that's the right size, you can actually take apart Game Boy games. So I think that's really dope. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the 6 screws out of the bottom of this. So since I got all 6 of those screws out, now the back should be able to come off. Which I'm going to try to remove the cable that is in here. Let's go ahead, we will open this and I'm going to take this cable out here. Should just slide out. Nothing holds these cables in. There we go. Just friction holds these cables in on these old Game Boys. It's not actually latches like on modern stuff. So this here is going to be the front of the Game Boy, which I'm actually not going to be using the front of this one. I'm actually going to be doing all of it in the new front. So I'm going to put this one to the side. And then on this is the back. I'm actually going to be removing all these boards and I'm going to put them into the new shell. So I can go ahead and I shall do that now. So on this, there are a few screws that I'm going to have to take off. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 screws. I was going to take that off. And then that should be able to remove this board from here. So let me go ahead and get the new shell right here. I'm going to take these buttons out and the new screws. And then we're just going to transfer it over. So let me go ahead and take these screws out. And then these two as well. Yeah, and then this board should just come out of this. Power button. So when the board comes out on this, it actually pulls the battery connectors down here at the bottom with it as well. So I want to make sure that I'm pulling this whole thing out together. So that is going to be the old shell. I'm going to go ahead and put that to the side. And I'm just going to move it right into this new one. So everything should go right back into place. Actually, since it's been a while, I might actually give this board a clean. It's actually pretty dirty. So let me actually go get a brush and some isopropyl alcohol to clean this. Alright, so what I use is just an old toothbrush and some alcohol. This is concentrated 99%. So I'm just going to put a little bit on either the toothbrush or I'll put it on the board. In this case, I'll put it on the toothbrush. Just gonna rub it in to a few of these places that are like super dirty. Mainly this power connector that's in here. So actually the back side of the board doesn't look bad, but while I'm here, I'm gonna clean the power button. Clean on top of this. Just make sure nothing looks super dirty. Well, everything else on it looks fine. So I just wanted to clean out a couple of the things. Power switch seems fine. All this is pretty much already clean. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this back into this case. And then I am going to put this back down here at the bottom. And then I'm going to screw it all back in. The kit does come with new screws. I'm just going to use the original ones. The back part of this case is now complete. Make sure everything is sitting correctly. I can see the cartridge. All of this is fine. So, back part of the case is now done. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to focus on the front of the case, which is going to be this here. So for this IPS mod, I actually am going to need to cut off a few things. So I'm going to need to cut off both of these stems, this here, this third part here, and I'm going to need to trim down where the contrast wheel is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. So I am going to take a pair of flush cutters and I'm going to cut off this stem here and this stem here. Okay, and then I'm going to take an X-Acto knife to these, and then I'm going to try to cut them flush. Okay, so now that both of those are flat, I gotta cut this power rail thing off. Okay, and I gotta cut this one off here. So I'm going to go straight down with my X-Acto knife. Actually, instead of using my X-Acto knife, I'm just going to use my flush cutters. I'm going to just flush cut this all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm going to use this to take it the rest of the way off. And then I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to straighten it out. Alright, that seems pretty flush to me there. And the next thing I have to do is where the contrast wheel is, which is going to be on this side. It's actually on this side here, on this back side. I actually have to cut this tiny ridge off that's right here. I have to cut that part off. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut right through this. I should hopefully be able to use this X-Acto knife. If not, I will flush cutter it off. No. Okay, so I'm going to flush cut this off. So just going to go straight across, just like that. Get that piece out that just fell in there. Okay. So now with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the X-Acto knife now to try to see if I can flatten this so it's not so white. Alright, now that is flat. So I'm good with this back part again. I'm going to go ahead and get that piece that's stuck in there out. Alright, I'm going to put that back to the side again. Alright, so now I'm going to clean off my workspace here. Alright, now that I'm back with a nice clean surface, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my IPS screen. So go ahead and open up this kit. So this kit's going to come with a few things. It's going to come with the board itself, which is going to be a complete front replacement to the DMG. Also comes with the LED, which is cool. And now I'm going to open this up, and this will be the screen itself and the daughter board. So that's going to be the daughter board there. This is the connector to connect the screen to the back of the board. And then this is going to be the screen itself. So what I'm going to do is I actually went online to retromodding.com and I was able to actually 3D print my own piece for this here, which I actually liked better. I did also order one from Handheld Legends, but I actually like the way this one looked better. If this one doesn't work, then I will switch, but this is the one from Retro Modding. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be sticking this screen in here. So how this goes in is the daughter board will actually go in first. It's going to go in towards the back of this here, push it down, and then I'm actually just going to bend the back around it. So that's actually where the board is going to sit. And I'm going to take this screen and I'm going to put it in here as well. So I'm going to push it in, push it towards the bottom, push it towards the bottom just like that. The other the daughter board fell out, so let's go ahead and put that back in. So put that back in, and then I'm just going to snap the screen back into it as well. So I'm going to just go ahead and click this back. And I just can get the screen and the daughter board both in there together. So just like that, where the daughter board is in there along with the screen. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this, we're going to plug in the screen just like that. So this part of the screen is now done. So next thing what I'm going to do is, after I'm done with the screen, I'm going to set that to the side. So we're going to put all of my buttons into here. So I decided to stay with the standard black buttons. So I'm going to use the black buttons from this kit. So I'm going to put in the D-pad. It's going to be the B button, A button. Looks like they're not keyed. This is going to be the power button, so I'm going to put that on later. And I also bought new silicone pads for it. So this is going to be, it's going to be the blue glass, the new glass protector for the front of it. So I'm going to put that on last. Then we got the, so this kit actually does come with another glass lens, which is going to look like the regular DMG one, but I'm not going to put that on. I might put it on the other DMG I have, but I kind of want to keep that one original, so that'll be for something at a later date. Alright, so these are going to be all the new silicones for this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them on. Just like that, and then I'm going to put these buttons in here as well. Alright, so next thing that I need to do is actually put in the speaker, which I did buy a new one because I wanted one that was more powerful. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be resoldering this to this board here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side, and then let me go ahead and turn on my soldering iron. Alright, so now that my soldering iron is hot, I'm going to actually be soldering new wires to it. So I do have these two here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be cutting them down slightly. So I'm going to cut them down to here, and the speaker is going to be about here. So I'm going to cut it down to about here on each of these. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip the ends. So I'm going to strip the ends of this. Strip the other end as well. Okay, I got both the ends of that one stripped. Let me go ahead and strip the end of the black one as well. Probably should get an actual pair of strippers, but generally these work, so. Alright. So now that I got all the ends off, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to twist these like that. Okay. Alright, and then on this board what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pass the wires through it, and I'm going to solder them down on the other side. Okay, so now that I have both of the wires on the other side of the board, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solder them down. So I'm going to take my soldering iron, I'm going to tin the end of it. I'm going to tin. Damn. Too much. That one good. This one did not go over so well. So then after I'm going to do what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually snip the small bit of the end of the rest of this wire off on both of these. Alright, now that I have both wires soldered in, I'm going to go ahead and solder this speaker in. So it's going to be the same thing. Just soldering these down. Actually, looks like there's a little bit of solder on these pads already. Let's go ahead and put more solder on these pads. There's no solder on them. It looked like there was. Okay. Now that they're both 10, we're going to go ahead and put negative on negative. Actually, this one is a bit too long, so I'm actually going to snip some of the end of this off. Alright, so snip the ends of these off a bit so there wasn't too much extra on them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tin the end of this. Just tin the end of these wires. Okay. And then I'm just going to solder them into place. Alright. Alright, now that that speaker is done, all I'm going to have to do is just rotate it around, and that's how it's going to go back into the case. Alright, so I'm going to bring back in the front of the case. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to actually peel the front of this off. Alright, now that the front of this is off, I'm going to place it in here. So with this, it actually gets placed face down just like this. And these should line up with this bracket directly into these holes. And the other one should go into the other side. Just like that. Alright, and then that is going to be the screen in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this board and I am going to be unlocking the latch at the top. And I'm going to be placing this in there. So this, the blue side goes up. So I'm going to go ahead and slip it in there, just like that. I'm going to close that, and then what I'm going to do is make sure that the cable is tucked under. And I'm going to be placing this to the back. And I'm also going to be placing this speaker in. Just like that. And then that is going to be this down. So now I'm going to take the new screws that I'm going to use to screw the motherboard in, the screen. It's going to be a new cover too. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this board down. So it's going to be the same screw holes as the old board, which since I cut some of the stuff off, it's not going to go in there. So you're going to have a screw here, here, and here. Are going to be the new screw holes for this back. So let me go ahead and put the screws in there. Looks like you're also going to have one here and here and one here. If you look at the original board, that's where all the screws were. So we're going to put in this screw, this screw, this screw, this screw, this, and this. Does not look like this board has this screw, so we're not going to put that in. We cut the two posts off the top, so those screws won't go in on this board. So we shall go ahead and put this back together. Okay. So just putting in that many screws should be okay. So now let me go ahead and try this and make sure that everything is lined up as it should. Let's go ahead and take the back of the Game Boy, we're going to take the cable here. So the cable goes blue side out. So we're going to go ahead and put this inside here. I'm going to go ahead and stick it into the screen first. It should be a lot easier than trying to stick it into the back since I can actually see the hole this way. Okay, so I got one side in. Let me get the other side in. Okay, so now that's in. Now I should just be able to get it into the back of this board, hopefully. Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier putting it on the front first and then putting it on the back. Alright, so let me go ahead and stick that speaker back in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and semi-close this up. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm actually going to put in my batteries. I want to give it a test and see if it turns on. Oh snap, there it is. So it does work. So let me go ahead and turn this back off. I'm going to stick in the same test cartridge that I used before. Turn it back on. So it does see the game. So what I should be able to do is change the color. Wow, I actually could not tell what this game was before. It's so dark on this. So I actually can change the color palette that this uses and the color of the background. It's actually really cool. It adds like color to a game that doesn't have color in it. Then I can also change the brightness. So the brightness doesn't seem to be working. Oh, there it goes. Very gradual steps with the brightness, I guess. Yeah, so you can see the contrast is going down now. Alright, so let me go ahead and bring that all the way back up. And then let me go ahead and turn it off. Alright, and now let me go ahead and take all this back out. Now that I have that out, let me go ahead and put this speaker into the place it needs to actually go in, which is right underneath this board. And then on here, I should just be able to push both of these against each other. Oh, actually, you know what? It'd be helpful if I put the power switch on. So the power switch actually goes down into here. Go ahead and turn that on, and then I should be able to put this power switch into here. Okay, that's the power switch in there now. Okay. Now once all that is complete, I should be able to just put all 6 of the screws back in, and then I need to put the front lens on. So let me go ahead and get this together where I can get the lens on. So let's go ahead and put these 6 screws back in. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and clean this, and then I'm going to be putting my glass lens onto it. So let me go ahead and clean this. Okay, so went ahead and cleaned this. What I'm doing is I'm going to blow some air on it to make sure that there's no dust. that I made sure there was no dust on it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, which is an anti-bleed for the LCD screen, which I also 3D printed. Go ahead and put that inside here as well. Make sure the light doesn't bleed into the screen. Go ahead and give this one more. Go ahead and peel the back off of this lens. Go ahead and peel the front off. I'm going to peel this back part off. And I'm going to give this another squirt. Make sure there's no dirt. And I'll go ahead and peel this 3M adhesive off the back of this. Let's go ahead and peel that part off. Go ahead and peel this screen part. It's not separating correctly. Oh, there it is. Alright, so now that I got that peeled off, go ahead and just put this lens right into place on the front of this. Go ahead and make sure that it is in good. Alright, now that that lens is in, let me go ahead and put batteries in this again. Go ahead and stick the back on. Go ahead and grab that same test game. Flop that into the back. Then we're going to turn it on. Oh, nice. So it's actually really cool how it adds color to a game that doesn't have color. So it swaps palettes. Let's go ahead and start. I don't know what any of this says. So you know what? I'm going to actually test this with Pokemon. I'll take this out. Grab my other DMG. I'm going to grab my Pokemon Red out of it. This is my Pokemon Red that actually still saves. Go ahead and stick that into the back. Go ahead and turn it back on. Whoop. Didn't read the game. Put it back in. Okay. And then once this comes up, ooh. It's really cool how it adds color. So this actually looks like red, but I can actually change the palette. Look, now it's actually red. But there it is, just regular black and white. Go ahead and continue my game. And then there is that. Go ahead and turn the volume down just in case. Then we go ahead and see. We can add a color palette. To me, this looks a lot like Pokemon Yellow with this color palette that it has. But there you go. All the buttons seem to work. Yeah, just change the color palette. I can also change the brightness if I wanted to go all the way down. If I wanted to go all the way up. Go back to that same color palette and then make sure the brightness is all the way up. And that's going to be the brightness all the way up there. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. I really like how it looks too with this clear blue on the back of this. So one thing that I wanted to do is I actually bought this reproduction of Pokemon Crystal. I don't usually buy reproductions, but I actually really liked the way this one looked because I thought it would match the clear blue of this. So, but the only problem is this is a reproduction. I forgot that Pokemon Crystal does not work on original Game Boys. So when you turn it on, it loads like this, but then immediately goes to a blinking screen on the original. So this one, it just does nothing. So yeah, It does not work on original Game Boys, only Game Boy Color. So the idea with the clear blue does not work. It does for the design, but not for the actual usability. So that kind of sucks. But I liked it because the reproduction cart looks like a normal one, but instead of the real cartridge. But yeah. So yeah, guys. So that is it working. I actually am really happy with how this came out. Oh, I actually did forget to put this link cover on. But I actually am really happy with how this came out. It looks really, really nice with this backlit screen and the ability to add color to these games. But I love the design of the original DMG, how it's big and bulky. It's really cool. But test out some of that sound. So the sound sounds pretty nice with this new speaker I put in. So, but yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. Alright, yeah, guys, so that's going to be the end of my video. So if you guys want to leave a like, that would be great on the video. If you guys want to leave any comments for any future videos, or if you guys want to leave me a subscribe on your way out, that would be great. Alright, thanks guys for watching my video, guys. Peace.